When Christopher Kimball stepped away from Cook's Country, it appeared to be a seamless handoff. Yet behind closed doors, a legal dispute was quietly unfolding, and it turns out this wasn't the only hidden drama the show kept under wraps. One of the things that made Cook's Country stand out from the beginning was its unique backdrop. Rather than filming in a standard high-tech TV kitchen, the show took place in a genuine farmhouse. For the first 9 seasons, the farmhouse featured in the opening credits was actually the production set. Interestingly, original host Christopher Kimball bought and owned the house in Rupert, Vermont. When he departed after 9 seasons, the team had to act fast to secure a new filming location. Their answer? Create an exact replica of the original farmhouse. Chef Brian Roof told KLCS, "In the transition period after Chris Kimball left, we shot 1 season. We rebuilt that set in the soundstage so it wouldn't be too shocking to the viewers because we had new hosts, Bridget Lancaster and Julia Collin Davison, so we wanted to keep the set the same. Today, the original farmhouse has a new owner and can be booked for stays through Vrbo." When Cook's Country was shot in the original farmhouse, the production ran like a finely tuned machine. They could film an entire 13-episode season in about 2 weeks, averaging nearly 1 episode per day. Of course, the total time to create a season stretched far beyond those 2 weeks. Even before factoring in post-production, months of recipe testing and prep were done back at the America's Test Kitchen headquarters in Boston. Roof told KLCS that, by comparison, the whirlwind filming at the farmhouse felt like a mini vacation. We'd have these little parties at night in our rented houses. It was a great time. Kimball's blog backs this up, featuring videos from 2010 that show the crew clearly enjoying themselves, including a lemonade stand that the Cook's Country team apparently set up purely for a comedic gag.
We lost a test cook last year to just overconsumption of lemonade.
In 2015, after season 9, longtime franchise figure Christopher Kimball left both America's Test Kitchen and Cook's Country due to a contract dispute. Things became even more complicated with a legal battle that dragged on for years. Following his departure, Kimball launched a new culinary venture called Milk Street. In 2016, America's Test Kitchen sued him, claiming he had betrayed their trust by using proprietary resources from his former job to build his new company. They also argued that Milk Street closely mirrored the America's Test Kitchen model, which from the start included both a TV show and a magazine. Kimball, in turn, said the lawsuit amounted to defamation against him personally. The matter was finally settled in 2019. Under the agreement, Kimball had to sell his remaining shares in America's Test Kitchen back to the company, but he was allowed to continue running Milk Street, which is still active today. After season 10 was filmed on a studio set designed to mimic the Vermont farmhouse kitchen, season 11 introduced an entirely new backdrop. Debuting in the fall of 2018, the updated Cook's Country set is housed in Boston's Innovation and Design Building, which has also been home to the sister show America's Test Kitchen since 2016. The Innovation and Design Building was originally constructed in 1918 by the U.S. Department of Defense and remained a military facility until 1983, when the city of Boston purchased it. In 2013, a private company acquired and restored the massive 1.4 million square foot space. Among its notable tenants is the Boston Design Center, which occupies 350,000 square feet of showrooms featuring high-end home products. Other companies sharing the building with Cook's Country include Reebok, Autodesk, and the Boston Beer Company.
I can't believe I'm in a 19th century farmhouse. It is a real set where we will be making television for Cook's Country.
A standard episode of Cook's Country features several chefs, each presenting their own recipe, filling about 25 minutes of airtime. Today, however, filming these segments apparently takes far longer than it did back in the farmhouse era. In 2019, the official Cook's Country blog shared a first-person account from magazine editor and TV producer Ali Berkey about a day on set. She explained that even a single 5-minute recipe segment, like one for thin and crispy chocolate chip cookies, can require hours of shooting, writing, Thin and Crispy Chocolate Chip Cookies debut time. We work through this recipe scene by scene. It's much slower than you'd imagine. It takes about 15 to 25 minutes for each scene depending on how much the recipe entails. The finished segment includes at least 10 separate shots. According to the article, shooting the thin and crispy chocolate chip cookies recipe ended up taking nearly 2 hours to capture roughly 5 minutes of footage, and that doesn't even include time for any reshoots that were needed. One thing that distinguishes both America's Test Kitchen and Cook's Country from other cooking shows is their focus on making recipes accessible for home cooks, not just professional chefs. Yet even culinary experts enjoy the dishes. Just ask anyone on the Cook's Country team. For instance, in 2009, Kimball told the celebrity blog, "Oh No, They Didn't," that he often made Cook's Country recipes at home himself. "I like those recipes. We don't really do a lot of fancy cooking."
I like good food. I don't feel bad about something that's got fat or salt in it if I like it.
Veteran test kitchen chef and on-screen personality, Julia Collin Davison also told KLCS that one specific Cook's Country recipe became a family favorite, so much so that her relatives began anticipating it as a regular part of their meals. There was this recipe for Caesar green bean salad. I was thinking, this is the worst. Then we made it and we ate it. It was one of the best green bean recipes I've had in years. It is now requested by my family all the time. I'm now required to make it for all holidays. Julia Collin Davison and Bridget Lancaster's professional partnership is built on a genuine friendship. After Kimball left the America's Test Kitchen brand, the two stepped in as co-hosts of Cook's Country for Season 10, having previously worked together as test cooks. In fact, their well-known on-screen chemistry stretches back to the late 1990s, long before either show premiered. Lancaster joined Cook's Illustrated magazine in 1998 as one of just 3 chefs in the company's renowned test kitchen. Davison followed a year later, in 1999, and became one of the first chefs featured on the America's Test Kitchen TV show when it began production in 2000. Chef Brian Roof became a key figure on Cook's Country as the show evolved and redefined itself, following Christopher Kimball's exit. His recipes often go beyond simple instructions, highlighting the cultural or regional significance of dishes he encountered during his travels. However, in a conversation with KLCS, Roof shared that his travel-focused recipe segments actually started out as a joke. He explained, "It was kind of a joke that was floating around a meeting. We should get an RV and travel around the country and find food, eat them firsthand before we start cooking them." We laughed about it, and a few months later, we had another editorial meeting, and our boss at the time was like, "Where are we at with the RV?" We're like, "Oh, you're serious." Remarkably, all of this happened before the TV show even came into being. Roof originally took these trips to research print articles for Cook's Country magazine, but those journeys eventually became the foundation for his travel-focused segments on the Cook's Country TV series. When Roof presents a recipe on Cook's Country, it's drawn directly from a local chef he encountered during his travels, rather than his own take on the dish. He told KLCS that, although he always has permission to feature the recipes, he doesn't actually request it. "I never ask anybody outright for their recipe. Usually people are cool. There's 2 types of people, and 95% of the people are like, 'Here's my recipe. Here's what I do. If you want to share it with the world, that's great.' That remaining 5%, however, are concerned that putting a proprietary recipe on television could harm their business. Naturally, everyone Roof features knows he's working for a TV show. Even so, his method ensures that the recipes he highlights are offered willingly and with genuine enthusiasm, rather than being pressured from his sources. Alongside Brian Roof, Season 10, the first without Christopher Kimball, introduced chef Ashley Moore as a new on-screen personality. Like Roof, Moore had been with Cook's Country for several years, contributing to the development of many recipes before they made it to the show. She proved to be a natural addition to the cast, thanks not only to her culinary expertise but also her acting background. According to her local newspaper in New London, Connecticut, Moore originally planned to pursue acting in college, studying at the California Institute of the Arts. After graduating, however, she discovered a passion for a career in the culinary world. "I was aiming for the Food Network. My dream was to be on a cooking show." She soon landed an internship with renowned TV chef Emeril Lagasse, but eventually chose to step away from food entertainment and focus on the behind-the-scenes side of the culinary world. Over time, she found a middle ground, working for the magazines under the America's Test Kitchen umbrella. After a few years, she moved to the brand's YouTube channel, which ultimately led to her role on the Cook's Country TV show, bringing her full circle as her dream of appearing on a cooking show finally came to fruition. Christy Morrison also made her on-screen debut as a chef on Cook's Country at the start of Season 10, playing a key role in the show's evolution following Kimball's exit. Like the other new cast members, Morrison had been with the company for several years before stepping in front of the camera. What distinguishes her, however, is her background in education. She previously worked as an English teacher. She shared with the America's Test Kitchen blog, "I've taught cooking classes since I graduated culinary school, and I taught high school English before that. So teaching recipes as part of the Cook's Country TV show seems like a natural fit for me." Before moving to the TV show, Morrison spent time editing Cook's Country magazine and also taught at both the virtual America's Test Kitchen Cooking School and the Cambridge School of Culinary Arts. Given that each chef on Cook's Country has the job of educating viewers, it's no surprise that her background in teaching has been a major asset in her success. In September 2020, the America's Test Kitchen brand named acclaimed journalist Tony Tipton Martin as the new editor-in-chief of Cook's Country. Although the editor-in-chief role is primarily literary, Tipton Martin's responsibilities quickly expanded to include on-camera work for the Cook's Country TV show, beginning with season 14. Just months into her tenure, she told Chicago PBS station WTTW that she wanted to bring a stronger emphasis on storytelling to Cook's Country, moving beyond the mechanics of a recipe to explore its origins and significance. That journalistic approach carried over to her TV segments, which she describes as people-centric and reflective of the perspective she applies to her editing work. Through her efforts, Tipton Martin is helping to transform both the Cook's Country magazine and TV series into a more immersive and complete culinary experience.